Ladies and gentlemen, it would seem as if President Trump has finally had enough of all of India's ongoing anti-American antics, and so just hours ago, President Trump dropped the hammer. And on top of that, just earlier today, we got some absolutely insane economic news that I think you guys are going to like, so hey, make sure to stick around for today's entire video. But okay, to kick things off, you see, for years now, India has not only been leveraging predatory trade tactics against the United States of America, but they've also continued to be one of Russia's key economic partners during a time when President Trump has been trying to isolate Russia and bring about peace in Eastern Europe. And so, folks, that is why just a couple of hours ago, President Trump had this to say. Take a look. Remember, while India is our friend, we have over the years done relatively little business with them because their tariffs are far too high, among the highest in the world, and they have the most strenuous and obnoxious non-monetary trade barriers of any country. Also, they have always bought a vast majority of their military equipment from Russia and are Russia's largest buyer of energy along with China at a time when everyone wants Russia to stop the killing in Ukraine. All things not good. India will therefore be paying a tariff of 25% plus a penalty for the above starting on August 1st. And so, folks, like I said, President Trump really did just drop the hammer on India. Now, to put things into context here, this 25% tariff on India is set to generate around $21 billion per year for the United States of America, whereas for decades now, we've actually maintained an egregiously lopsided trade deficit with India. And of course, the reason why is because India, much like various other countries around the world, have leveraged their own predatory economic barriers against products made here at home in the USA. Then, on top of that, India has proven to be totally belligerent during President Trump's peace talks in Eastern Europe, refusing to help de-escalate things or participate in President Trump's goal of achieving peace between Russia and Ukraine. So really, all things considered, not only are President Trump's brand new tariffs on India fair and totally justified, but also really, they're just the right thing to do. But now, folks, speaking of President Trump's tariffs and comprehensive economic policy, we actually got some absolutely bombshell news today that I want to share with all of you. But first, I do want to say real quick that if you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, take a look at this breaking news report.
Again, GDP, this is the first read of the second quarter coming in at 3%. That is better than expected, 2.4%. I want to bring in Adam Johnson. Markets are certainly watching this right now.
Yeah, Goldilocks, because I would add to that, Cheryl, that the GDP price index was only 2%, and the expectation was 2.2. In other words, we have an economy growing at, what do you say, 3%? We have inflation at 2%. That's the best of both worlds. So I'm very positive on that report, at least in the moment.
So folks, did you catch all of that? Just earlier this morning, we got the 2025 Quarter 2 report, and as it would turn out, not only is President Trump's economy absolutely killing it, in huge part because of all of his trade tariffs, but the economy is actually surpassing all of the experts' projections by a whopping 0.8%. Folks, this news is absolutely massive, and so really, President Trump's economic approach has been totally vindicated again. But you know what? What do you say we take a look at how the progressive left is handling all of this absolutely amazing economic news? Let it play.
The left and people that don't like the president and don't want things to work. And, you know, like Senator Elizabeth Warren will come on and say inflation's out of control and the economy is getting killed by what's happening by these tariffs. This 3% with the market at new highs and really we haven't seen inflation, you know, go up back to 3%. Maybe it will this week. Maybe we'll see it. But none of these things, none of these horrible things have happened, but they still talk like it's happening. It's amazing.
Well, there's an important lesson there. Don't pick a congressman to be your money manager. That's what I would say. But in the end, Congress has their own reasons to point out certain things. And the Democrats, of course, as you pointed out, really don't want to see the current administration have some success. But there's no doubt that this is some success.
And so, folks, as we all know, that is just a little bit of an understatement. The reality is, day by day, President Trump is effectively rebuilding the entire global economy in the image of America first, and every single economic metric is confirming that his plan is actually working. Domestic job creation is through the roof, foreign investments are coming pouring into the country, his tariffs are generating almost $30 billion a month, the stock market has been absolutely booming, and now the GDP is blasting past all of the expert projections. But you know what? Take a look at what the director of the National Economic Council, Kevin Hasset, had to say about all of this just earlier today. Let it play.
You know, I think if there were a beauty contest for GDP releases, that Miss July would probably be very close to the top of the list of the early betting, because you got everything for everybody. There's really strong growth, really strong income growth. We've got a huge reduction in government spending, 5% drop in government spending, now 70,000 fewer federal employees. And we've got $127 billion in tariffs. And so the story, the anti-Trump story, has been that we're going to have a recession or a depression because of the tariffs, which are going to jack up prices and cause consumers to run for the exits. And in fact, every single thing about this GDP release has shown strength. And then the final thing that I like to see in the release, and this is why I'm saying it's really a beauty contest level release, is if you look at it, if you then say, oh, well, next quarter is going to even be better than this, are there reasons to think that? And there are, because if you look at one of the weird little blips in the data, there was a big decline in, say, factory spending. And that was ahead of the big, beautiful bill because people were waiting for that to pass so they could expense. And so there's going to be a huge pent-up demand for factory spending in the third quarter. And so you got to be starting to pencil in a 4% number for that quarter.
And so, folks, did you hear that? Not only is the economy absolutely booming right now, but also there's pretty good reason to believe that this is just the beginning of the boom. And so I'll tell you what, to me, it seems like President Trump's plan is actually working. But once again, what's that plan? Well, when President Trump stepped back into the White House, he had the genius idea that if we actually want to start paying off our massive national debt, yeah, we can start penny pinching and cutting waste out of the federal budget, which we've been doing. But also, perhaps an even better way to pay off the national debt is to just unleash the full power of the American economy. In essence, his plan is to grow our way out of the debt, and folks, guess what? It's actually working. You know, as an example here, let's say that you're in $100,000 in debt. Sure, you might want to start couponing and cutting back on various wasteful expenses, but also, wouldn't it be nice to get a brand new job that just pays 2 times as much? That sure would help. And so, folks, simply put, that is the essence of President Trump's economic approach, and like we can all now see, it's working. And so, hey, as I like to say, I don't know about all of you, but me personally, all of this is exactly what I voted for.